You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So, if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis. Why the problem you think you have may not be your problem at all. Ladies, oh my Lanta. So here's the thing. Loveline had their season finale and also the reunion. And Chris and I were totally wrong pretty much about everything.
Yeah.
100%. Well, no, I said no on Kwame. You said no on Kwame, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so we were wrong there. I said yes on Paul and Micah. You said yes on Paul and Micah.
I did. Yep.
We were wrong there. I said, and then we were right on the other two.
Oh, yeah.
It was Zach and Bliss and Tiffany and Brett. So we were 50% wrong, but I'm very happy for the show that they had 3 of the 4 couples say yes. Because when you're watching it and the no happens, it's literally painful to watch. But what I want to talk about is a couple of things. So we told you what happens. And by the way, honestly, you could like fast forward through that like wedding thing and you would get the same outcome. The only thing that I thought was really funny was in the previews, they tried to tease us that maybe Tiffany and Brett were going to have a moment. Yeah. But when he was like, this is my wedding, it shouldn't be like this. Boy was
Bridezilla.
Talking about his pants. He was talking about his pants. But here's what I want to talk about. When you think about this, to me, this is the big takeaway is Micah and Paul, because in the end, Paul says, I never got this vibe from Micah, about being a mom. And she says, oh no, Paul, I told you I wanted a family. How could you have not known that? Then what he sort of describes is this thing that we talk about all the time, which is just like you're leaking, right? Like your energy, right? And he's like, it's hard to describe, but there was just not this like presence or this energy around her about being nurturing or whatever he defines as being a mom. And Reality Reina was like, and also she was like, being a bitch, like mean to people. And she was friends with Irina and her other friend was not a nice person. Right.
Yeah.
So you're kind of collecting data over time. So I was just curious, like, did you agree with Paul in that capacity? Like that it was that she didn't have that feminine energy. She didn't like that there was something that was missing from her around being nurturing or soft. She was just all about like the look and like your style and your apartment. So I don't know. What was your take on that?
My take I'm glad that I think I said Paul's like I was afraid he was a rube. He was just getting snowed because she's so much more emotionally intelligent, manipulative than him. I'm so glad to see that he ran the numbers on his spreadsheet, which isn't a great way to live completely. And his friends even kind of busted his balls for not checking in with his heart as much. Yeah. But his numbers, I think the spreadsheet was so resoundingly no that he didn't even need to develop his heart muscles yet there. So he'll still learn to go with his EQ as well.
But he said he loved her. So why? He did. But is it that he just couldn't see a future with her? There was also the Arizona, Seattle thing, but
so much, babe. You said it best. You said she still had mean girl vibes. We talk about actions and words. It literally has the word girl in it. And that's not a wife. That's definitely not a mother. That's not somebody you can, have that long-term and hitch a family in a wagon and go out there and into charted, scary relationship, marriage land where they're headed. And on top of that, she did so many things, from still listening to her high school friends. Shelby, I think, has made an amazing appearance and left an indelible mark with, and look to them for guidance. Like, this is not good. Talk about, going seeking counsel from your single friend. Then she also wanted to do this again, very selfish to me. It seemed kind of, she's like, okay, I'm living here. You need to come visit me and this sort of thing. And it just seemed like a lot of everything was on her terms. But I like, and I want to give this to you or point this out. I think she's on the right path. I know, I can see that she doesn't love who she was, and some things, some bells were awakening her. I think she wants to grow that way, but she's going to need some time, as is he, I believe. So I think he 100% did the right thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, here's what's interesting is like at the very beginning, I was like, Micah and Arena are just mean girls, right? And then, you know, I saw her sort of distance herself from Micah or from Arena, and I was like, okay, maybe she's getting it. But then, you know, she goes back to her hometown, and then there's Shelby, right? And so you're like, no, you haven't really changed. So I really do think that we talk about this all the time, is like the energy that you put out. You can say you want to be a mom. You can say that you're this, you can say that you're that. It's how you show up, and that it's the actions that are taking place that have nothing to do with an actual date, how you interact with other people, your friends, how you talk about your family members, all those sorts of things. When we saw Micah like crying about like, you know, I was only a child, I wasn't even supposed to be born, you know, like, I was just like, what, who's this person? Because the whole time she was coming across as so cocky and guarded. And so I thought that was really interesting.
I think what we saw was like a Micah rebuild, in that she did seem almost broken, but I think a better maybe term is, I think she's disassembling herself, and she's trying to recreate herself. And gals, listeners out there, we've all done, you know, if you've had significant growth, it's going to feel scary and unsure. And she did seem very unsure and lost. You could sense it from her. And I think she is trying to become and grow into that nurturing, the person she wants to be, but knowing that her mind and her actions and her words still aren't getting her there. So I think she's in that kind of that evolution of a state where I think she'll eventually get there. But
I hope so.
We all do.
Arena was just like a total trash talking, insincere. I love Zach. He's sort of like, let's just be honest. You came on this show to get famous. I do not think she transformed. Let's talk about
and just because you have mental health issues doesn't mean that you can't be a shitty person. I'm so glad that Bliss pointed that out. That was beautiful.
I was just going to say, yes. The only thing that I thought was really interesting was that, and we don't know if it's true or how true it is, but Irina's like, oh, I wanted to go home. I didn't really want to go to Mexico. I don't know. She's not a credible witness, as they say. Let's talk about Jackie and
Josh
and Marshy. I like Marshy.
I know.
So Reality Reina, I did not go and research these text messages that were sent. Did you?
No, what's shitty hosting, by the way? Vanessa Lachey was terrible.
She did not get nice words on the internet.
No. And Nick didn't. It's like he didn't do his homework, and he was like the fifth wheel joining a group project, and like smiling. He did nothing. She was a mess. She set him up. And by the way, it's good hosting. You don't ever bring something up and say, "Oh, I guess we can't talk about that." Again, with the text message, don't freaking bring it up if you're not going to be like, because
I know everybody at home was like looking it up. So what happened was, and this is, I think, really interesting, because sometimes in a relationship, you do say mean things that you don't mean to say. And I think that everybody gets like a pass within reason. So apparently those text messages that Jackie was sending were very, critical of him, along the lines, which we saw on the show, of her saying he's soft, he's weak, he cries all the time.
Yeah, check his masculinity.
Yeah, exactly. And so then he made a comment, about her look. But the thing is, and I think we talked about this, a couple of times, that was super inappropriate what he said, and rude, and it was not cool. However, the vibe she was putting out, he said something about her jawline, but the vibe she was putting out, right, was total dude energy, right?
100%.
Like she was very bro-ish.
She called him bro, called him dude. So yeah, made a comment about, yeah, because she was making fun of his masculinity. Maybe you got a little defensive. Well, maybe you're pretty masculine with that jawline or something, along those
Exactly.
lines. Which
So
of
I
course,
just have to
you're focusing up.
say, and so I think when they went and they showed Jackie in the pods, and if I remember back to the beginning of the show, she said, Josh is all this masculine stuff. I don't think that interview was very in depth that Vanessa Lachey did with Jackie and Josh, but they're still together. She said that she's grown. I would have loved for Vanessa to say, "Oh, in what ways have you grown? What did you learn? Why is Josh a better partner for you?"
Yeah.
We didn't really learn any of those things. But what I will say is this is character and how you show up in the face of being criticized. And I think Marshall did a great job of saying, life is not about you versus me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you are with this person. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
He didn't want to say anything negative about her. And I think that when you break up with someone, you don't need to make them wrong.
Yes.
To be okay to separate.
Correct.
And I think that he modeled that really, really well. I also think Zach did that really, really well.
Yes. I'm really glad you brought that up. So we sent each other show notes, and that was one of the things in the middle of the night. I woke up, he's a restroom. I go, I actually wanted to write that. Yeah. Talk about exactly how to acknowledge or handle when your ex just dumps on you, social media, whatever, like you did. And I thought Marshall did a fantastic job, as did Zach. When you date those little nightmare chicks who are just going to be so defensive and blast things and throw this intangible, well, maybe he said this thing. I love the way he handled it.
Yeah. And it's just really about having grace and forgiveness. And Zach was talking about, the way he was raised, and he realized that, in his own childhood, even though his mom wasn't a great mom, he found freedom, and she found freedom in being forgiven. Right. And allow, and Bliss says, like, one of the things that I love about Zach is that he believes in second chances. I mean, he's a criminal defense lawyer. He had, by virtue of being raised by an addict mom, like, for better or worse, you give people a second chance. But what I really like is the way that they had each other's back. Yeah. Bliss and Zach, hey, what I think Zach is trying to say, just, and he was like so protective of her, and they just talked about how they worked through this stuff. And even Bliss is like, we don't need to talk about this anymore. Like, we don't get made happy by re-demonstrating how elaborate the mistakes and manipulations were of Irina. And I just thought that was really dignified and classy, and I liked it.
Agreed. Yeah, they handled it perfectly. They're the best. And I love how we knew they were good because we saw how much they love each other's quirk. They just accept each other, and they dig their strange little, that song, even he brought the song out again.
I know.
And she took it all in, baby. She accepted, she receives.
It's so cute. And then the producers put all these other really cute videos. They were so cute.
I hope you dance. They got to get their money's worth out of playing.
By the way, I love that song because when we were looking we were looking around, we went to Steamboat where we're running right now. We went and actually heard the songwriter who wrote that song for Leanne Womack perform that song. And he has a house in Steamboat, and he calls his house the I Hope You Can Dance house. I hope you dance, because he bought his house with all the royalties from that great song. But it was just so funny. So Jeremy and I were watching it, and he's like, Leanne Womack says, and Jeremy's like, Leanne didn't say it, that old guy, he said it, he wrote it. And I love that song because I think it really says, I hope that when life gives you a struggle, I hope you continue to believe in faith and hope. And so I loved them.
And I mentioned, so I live in Venice, and how cool is it? Yeah, he was just out here in his little trailer, and I pulled up the side. I go, hey, what's going on? I go, is he creepy? Because all these people on the internet saying he's adorable. And the girl went and saw that there was like a meet and greet, all the cast members, and they go, no, he's not creepy. They go, he's he's nerdy and he's sincere and he's kind and passionate and very sincere. Like, I love that. I know he sees what he says.
I like him. Okay, let's talk about Kwame and Chelsea because so here's what I loved about their little moment on the reunion show. They basically were like, hey, audience, I know that the edit looks like this, and I know you all were surprised, but here's the thing. You didn't really see very much. And yeah, we had to work through some shit, but we're crazy in love with each other. And I believe it. I thought they had a good vibe together. I thought their little home video tour was genuine and cute. I feel like he would not have said yes unless he really wanted to. And I think that they are, I buy it. I totally bought it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I recant some of the stuff I said because I did, with what I saw, it did seem to see the trepidations and hesitancy that I think most guys are going to have when they're about to leave their city and go across for another chick. And it's normal. I think that, I think Kwame was, even though he's on the show to get married, I think it was more natural and organic. That's how dudes, and I think the producer, they really edited and they showed all that hesitancy, and she can be kind of like a bull. But I do love that she is trying to become less bullish and more just chill a little bit. And you can see her trying and she's struggling. I love this. And I dug that. You can see her, she kind of bite her tongue when she wanted to jump in there and, pull a Vanessa Lachey on him and talk right over him. And she was doing her best to give him space. And I think that even though she's used to having her way no matter what, I love it. I can tell that she is trying to get input. You even saw it in their house. She's got her pink corner with her little Peloton bike and stuff. Yeah. But she let him have the couch and some of this other cool, and it was pretty, but it wasn't overly, it wasn't a Barbie house by any means. So.
I love that. And also she talked about how she is admitting, like, I had this timeline. I want to have a baby. I want to, right? And she's learned, and he's a guy who we learned was, living abroad 6 months a year. Like, it wasn't just about Portland, people, but we didn't know that. We thought it was just about Portland. Like we were even joking on our group text, like, oh, bro, like, get a new soccer league. It wasn't really about that. It was about really having a lot of freedom. But she says, like, I'm letting go of that timeline. He's taught me that. And Kwame's like, we talked about, like, how could we do this? And then also, have more freedom and what would that look like in our future that we could do together? So I just really think that we saw a lot of how they've made each other better versions of themselves and how they've grown and how they are combining their lives and how they're learning and growing from the parts of their partner that are challenging for them and becoming better versions of themselves.
Exactly. And I mentioned last time, like, she does remind me of a lot of your clients, and that she's just a badass go-getter and makes it happen. I love to see the way that she wasn't rigid. Now, that's what I was worried about. I was worried that she was gonna be rigid. Everything had to be her way. And I love to see that she became flexible. And, you and I were just chatting about this, about how there's going to be times in relationships where things you don't want to do. And I love that she is okay with that. And she does seem to now. Kwame does speak up. Very important thing. That's on him. And she does seem to listen and want to listen. More importantly, she wants her man to be happy. That's great.
Absolutely. And I was like, yay. Okay. And then the last couple we want to talk about is, of course, Tiffany and Brett. We barely spoke about them because they were just like on point the whole time. We didn't know. Talk about weird editing. Like, they made it so obvious that Kwame and Chelsea lived in different cities. And we find out that Brett lives in Portland, which is like, duh, because I know that Nike's in Portland. And I like the way, she talked about, like, transitions and moving, and they were just really cute together. And I don't really have that much to add because I just think they were edited as solid and they continue to be solid. And they just look like they're so happily in love. And the little joke about, like, Princess Sleeping Beauty was really funny.
Yeah. I dug that. Yeah. And again, they did show it that she did seem, again, also normal. She was nervous as well. He's so sure. It's just tough for two people to be that. Most likely, if two people were always that sure, they probably would already, would have been married already. So it makes sense that they have that polarity, that one of them is very confident. I think that's usually how it seems to have to be. But yeah, they're beautiful, and she's okay. He is a little bit,
He's a little bougie Brett.
Bougie Brett. Yeah, bougie Brett likes to have things his way, and he kind of does little freak out moments a little bit, but I'm glad he got his pants tailored and didn't pull a Shane where he missed the baseballs and call it the wedding because his pants didn't look right. It's his day, which, by the way, yeah, his pants needed a little tailoring. It wasn't wrong.
No, he was totally not wrong. Jeremy was like, yeah, wow, that wasn't a little thing. That was like a big deal. They were super cute. I thought it was a great season of Love is Blind. 100%. It really was fun. I really, really wish the best for the couples. I think they're adorable humans. And I do really appreciate what the message, they're like, look, we're just like putting our crap all out there and like, you don't see half of it. I think they said like you see like 1%, which is probably true. And I just really enjoyed it. And we have to figure out what we're going to do. We have to talk about Perfect Match on our next episode. We're going to circle back to Perfect Match. So if you have not seen that one, you get to see Nick Lachey hosting it. No, Vanessa. You'll see some people from Love is Blind and other Netflix shows. It's a quick hit. You can watch it in about a weekend. So we'll be talking about that next week. And in the meantime, Consultant Chris is now on TikTok. So make sure you go check him out and also go to consultantchris.com if you know a guy who needs some date coaching or needs help with his style. And you, of course, should subscribe and share this with your friends. And then go find us on TikTok at Marni Battista and on Instagram at Dating with Dignity. But whatever you do, life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Battista, and let's talk soon.